comments, and then we'll open it up for questions.
I would tell you that I thought this last weekend we were good enough to win. We were more average than above average or even exceptional. And we got away with it, where our team, we had this discussion. The goal here is to amp up practice and demand better at practice, because it's showing in game, and that is not what we want. So the pressure is kind of on me to make sure that I am paying attention to these things and stopping, calling them out, do it over again. Hustle, athletic movements, athletic hustle. We learned a lot that is helping us learn a lesson, and that's important.
Jesse?
Patty, last week you mentioned that maybe there was some nerves, maybe with someone like Kirsten, but this past weekend, I mean, 10 strikeouts, really good game. How big was that maybe for someone like her, who's still a young player, finding her way to maybe bounce back like that?
It's extremely important for us right now, for her to have that. She went out in Puerto Vallarta, and she will tell you that she was definitely nervous, and you could see it. You could see it in her face. She came in locked in, and it really didn't matter to me who the opponent was. She was going to have a good game. You could see that, and it was exceptional. So our pitching staff just got stronger in one outing. So she needed that. We needed that, especially going into Palm Springs.
For someone like her, a second-year player, still young, on a pitching staff with some veterans, where everybody's kind of getting some playing time, where do you hope to see someone like her grow in her second year? What do you look for out of her?
Consistency. I don't need 10 strikeouts. It's nice, but don't need it. I think consistency, and there were times when she'll let the count get away from her. So she's digging out of a 3-0, 3-1 count. She was ahead of the count quite a bit. She did take some to 3-2, but would get the strikeout from it. So for her, it's staying ahead and executing that kind of punch-out pitch that she needs.
Bob?
Patty, I'll stick with pitching. SJ, how ready was she for her first moment?
She's been ready for the last 2 years, so it was a big moment for her. I'm really proud of her, too. I got to see her. I thought she would have nerves as well, but she's having good success here at practice. And we really wanted to bite off a small piece for her, so we had her come in for 2 hitters, and she would take her breath, and she's very locked in and focused. So we wanted to try it again the next day. It was so good we didn't want to take her out, but we did want to feed others because we were closing up onto a run rule. So SJ is another viable option here, and now you've got 6 truly viable options. An opponent has to prepare for all of them, because you don't know who's coming and when they're coming, and that is a nightmare from a hitting coach perspective and a team trying to gather up all that information. So that was probably the best thing we got out of last weekend, was our pitching staff really handling their business and doing it very well. They were the star of the show out there this weekend.
Ryan?
Yeah, Patty, you talk about the lessons that y'all learned down there this weekend. How do you feel like your team has responded to that over these last couple of days? And how beneficial is it to sort of ramp up in competition level this weekend with what you'll face out in Palm Springs?
Yeah, today was our first day back, because yesterday was our day off, and they handled it well. They got pushed pretty good, and they responded. So I was excited about that. I think that's it just creates momentum too. So we need to have a good day tomorrow as well to prepare us for what we're walking into. Mississippi State is very good. Sam Ricketts is doing a really good job there. And that's our first game, so it's going to be a tough one right out of the chute. Wisconsin is a good team, a very aggressive team. They're the squeeze, the swing and miss steal, like they try to create things to keep you off balance defensively, and good pitching as well. So we've got our hands full on the first day, but I was encouraged walking off this field And I am anxious about our practice tomorrow because I think it'll continue to ready us for the weekend.
You talk about Samantha there. You faced Katie's team last week. What's that like for you to see your former players go off and become coaches and climb up those ladders?
First of all, it's probably one of my most prideful moments is to look across the other side and see that, because I take it kind of personal that maybe they enjoyed watching or living in our program enough so that they wanted to make it a career. So that's a big deal. Number two, I do not want to let them beat us. So that's really important, because then they have bragging rights forever. And but they're doing great jobs. I like to watch my eyes fade away to seeing what they're doing. Sometimes I look in the dugout or I pay attention to how they're managing, things like that. But it's so prideful. It really is. That's one of my favorite things, is watching our athletes go into coaching and finding success and hearing the same phrases that I was using 15 years ago or whatever it was. They're still kind of got that same mindset, and they're taking things from this program, which I readily give to them because I want them to continue to grow our sport.
Ryan on this side.
You mentioned last weekend that you sent some overswinging still. How much of a luxury is it to be able to go in Saturday and shake things up and try and say, okay, Riley, you're at the top, everybody else settle back? Does that help everyone kind of settle and watch everybody else kind of go out there?
Yeah, it's I had a lot of moving parts this weekend for many different reasons, too long to get into, but some was seeing what you look like up at the top of the lineup, and Riley Ludlam, Riley Boone showed really well. Some are putting you down to the bottom because you're putting too much pressure on yourself where you are higher in the lineup. So I started moving some players down. I started pulling some of our returners out, bringing new. At one time I had every player on the field non-seniors except TRA at short. And it felt kind of good to see that I wasn't sitting there going, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? I felt really confident with what they were going to do. They looked prepared. And that's kind of what the future is going to be holding. And I got to give those opportunities as much and as often as I can when warranted. But I hope that you will be saying the next time you see us play in person, which will not be at this field. What is this material? Certainly not wood. I think you're going to see something that might look a little bit different than what you've seen. I know you haven't seen us in person, but I'm hoping it's going to look stronger, faster, momentum building, aggressive, hustling, blue collar, all those things that this program was built off of is what we need to bring back to this team. And when you think about it, this is the 4th year in a row that they're walking in as, starting in the 4th year as national champions. And it's like, this is uncharted territory. I don't even know what to tell you on how to manage them differently, because it's a challenge. It's like, how do I keep it fun and keep them hungry? And, they've got 3 rings on their finger. What else more do you want? And that is what we have to keep our focus on, is not so much the outcome, but like creating a team that is just loving the process, loving each other, loving, committing to, what we're doing every day. And I think we've been a little sloppy, and I blame that on me. I'm sitting back and I'm watching. Today I was much more vocal, and it felt good. The old me is a little bit different, and they experienced the old me for one of the first times this season, and they responded to it, and I think that's what they want. So that's where I'm going.
You talked a little about the slate ahead this weekend, but not just the teams you'll play, the atmosphere is always nuts out there. How much are you looking forward to getting the new pieces to, hey, welcome, this is the show,
Yeah.
Figure it out type thing?
It's funny because I'm looking at their faces in the circle, and I'm looking at them, I'm remembering when they had committed to us, and they're out there and they're watching the games, and they're like little, they're seniors, but they look like little kids, like, oh, Coach Gasso, I can't wait to be here next year. And now here they are, and like, oh my gosh, okay. It's going to, it's chaos out there. It is just people everywhere. We try to get, we bring administrators to help move us around. They bring security to move us around, because you have to walk through crowds to get there. So it's going to be quite different for a lot of these athletes that were on the other side, sitting in the stands watching. Now you're in the middle, and this is like their dream come true, because it's a California player's dream. This is the Mary Nutter, it's the premier tournament, and as bad as the fields are, they don't care. They want to play there in front of their family and their friends, and that's what they, what they grew up on. So it's a big deal to them, and that's why we got to fine tune this.
Got time for a couple more, Eli?
Patty, you alluded to letting the old you come out. Is there anything else you've done over these first weeks in trying to either make things fun, break things up for this group to try to motivate?
The first weekend, they were ready to play. It's that long stretch when you go from January till, the week prior. They feel like we're ready. And I know we're not completely ready. When they went out to Puerto Vallarta, they were ready. I felt that. And we played I asked them, rank our performance 1 through 10. There were 4s, there were 5s, and there were a few 6s. And we still beat 2 of the top ranked teams in the country that way. So that's the good news. This last weekend, I felt them take it too lightly. Almost like, well, we're not on TV, or these teams aren't maybe in postseason. Man, McNeese just put on a clinic for us. And one of the things that really changed me, to be honest, was their head coach. It really works his players hard, and they're very prepared, and their warm-ups would wow you. It's very organized, very regimented. It's almost like Army type, military looking. They play hard, and they not have all around the same maybe level athlete that we have, but they outworked us, and I felt that. And their coach came up to me and said, we played you guys and you kicked our rear ends in Houston. And I took that video and I showed our players what that looked like, because we wanted to be like you. We wanted to play like you. We wanted to show them what a championship team looks like and how they play. And that was a big honor, but I don't think we met his expectations this weekend. I think his team outdid us in that way. And that was just a real eye-opener for me. So as much as we were very average this weekend and good enough to win, we really, again, if we walk out of there with lessons, that's really important, and that's probably one of the biggest lessons we learned.
And with Riley Ludlam, what was it you identified about her from afar in the portal, and then how did you sell her on coming here knowing who you already had at catcher?
This is the 100% truth. I'd never heard that name before in my life. We started scanning and looking for catchers on the portal, and we saw her name. We tried to pull up video and looking and looking and looking. We pulled up her video. Her numbers were pretty good, offensive numbers. She was a team captain. So saw minimal. It was more about what she's going to be like. I called her on the phone, and I said, "This is Coach Riley. Hi, this is Coach Gasso from Oklahoma." She's like, "Shut up! Who is this? Oh my gosh!" I'm like, "It's really Coach Gasso." "No, it's not. Who is this?" And she might have said somebody's name, like someone's playing a trick on her. And finally, she believed me. We started talking, and the rest is history. I mean, she came out on a visit. Just a hardest working, humble, hardworking. She gets big moments, and she's as free as a bird. She's not caught up. She just wants to hit the ball hard. She's keeping it really simple, and a great example to our team what it looks like. So it's a really great success story, because we didn't have a lot of options or a lot of great information on her. It turned out we hit the jackpot.
Last one for Jesse.
Patty, you mentioned before the season that with TRA moving to shortstop at second base, that was an ongoing battle. I know it's just been a couple of tournaments, but what have you seen so far at that second base?
I've liked it. And I've got a lot of options. So you've seen Avery Hodge there, Quincy Lilio, and Alina. And Alina's pretty versatile. Alina could play second. She could play a good third. Now we're working her over at first. So we've got lots of options. If somebody isn't hitting or some kind of injuries, again, we've got lots of options. And I can pick any one of those three and feel very good about it at second. TRA's just, her levers are so long. She can really reach things. And she just really kind of the shortstop runs the infield, and she's really doing a good job of that. So I feel very settled. Our defense was really good this weekend, really good. I don't think we made any errors, and defense, pitching is on point, and the hitting is going to be catching up very quickly.